Hello everyone and welcome back. It is unfortunately time for me to cut 3 books from my pile from the SPFBO round 8. As I have said before, I can only put 1 book forward, so it is time to say goodbye to these 3. The first book that I'm going to be cutting is Champions Rising by SF Claymore. Prince Snamis is a giant of a man, one of the strongest in the kingdom of Sycoria. But his fighting skills fail to impress his father, whose approval he seeks. His closest friend advises him to seek help from the werewolves. But the country is invaded by demons, and Snamis realises that he must become a great warrior or die in the process. I've got to admit, I did struggle to get much into this one, because when we meet Snamis at the start of the story, he is very, very meek, and as he's the main character, it is kind of frustrating to read about. One thing I did enjoy though is that this world is full of magic and there are magical races aplenty, which is something I always appreciate. One thing I did notice in the bit that I did read is there are so many epithets used for the characters. We had a one-on-one fight scene and different names and epithets were used constantly through the few paragraphs, so I did have to check back to see how many characters we had involved, because I honestly thought more people had joined in. So with those frustrations, unfortunately this one is a cut because I just didn't get much further through. The second book that I'm going to be cutting is The Apprentice in the Master's Shadow by Ian Gregoire. The end of an arduous apprenticeship is at hand, and Caden learns that being the favoured apprentice of a living legend doesn't gain her the respect that she deserves. With little time left to change perspectives, resentment forces her to take drastic action. Measures that may jeopardise her induction into the Order and threaten her life. But it surely must be worth the risk to allow the apprentice to step out of the Master's shadow. Just quite briefly with this one, unfortunately the reason I'm cutting this one is because it is book 2 in a series. I read book 1 about 4 years ago, which was a long time of books ago, and I really enjoyed this one. However, as I began reading this one, my thoughts were just a constant, I must go back to book 1 and find out what's going on with that character. I can't remember what's happening with them, so I'm cutting this because it is a book 2. I did enjoy the world. I am planning on coming back to this one after a reread because I did enjoy it, but for the sake of SPFBO, I can't put this one any further. The third book that I'm going to cut today is The Emperor's Fate by A.J. Walker. In Rhaedyra, ancient dragon remains possess a rare magic, elements used to fight an age-old war. A war where enemies are born of dragon fire. An enemy who uses dragon hearts to wield a fiery magic. An enemy known as the Volarum. In this world, the strong survive, the politically astute thrive, and those with ancient dragon remains reign supreme. This one threw you into a battle at the very start, and I really loved it. It was tense. People are made of fire, and there was so much heroism. And that was the prologue. And then when the story began, we were so far removed from that. With so many names and positions and politics and exposition in dialogue. Unfortunately, I just found my interest tailing off, and this was a book that I just didn't get back to. So those are the 3 books that I'm going to cut today. I wonder if any of those sound interesting to you. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you all soon.